Well, Vinay,
We are back.
Fire Rescue 2025, Saturday morning.
Day 2 of the podcast. Well, I guess day 3 of the
Day 3
podcast.
now, right, day 3. Welcome back.
How was your night?
It was rough. The company I keep sometimes I question greatly. I really do. It says a lot about my judgment.
And you can only imagine the torture they go through.
Yeah. So the joke is I was hanging out with them. There's the problem.
Another great day, another great start.
I'm looking forward to getting the numbers from yesterday so we can kind of give everybody numbers of what was on the floor. And I know they'll be brought over to us here in a little bit so we can pass along to everybody kind of the show floor numbers. But it looked really good yesterday. A lot of traffic and everything. And I hear a lot of excitement so far this morning. So I hear a lot of conversations going on.
Yeah, and it's a big day, a lot planned here today. Of course, you got our podcast that everybody's interested in.
Absolutely.
And then,
that's the reason they come, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then they're going to have the Explorer competition. You've still got a lot of classes going on. We talked with Richard yesterday, and I know he's teaching again today.
Yep.
And then it's going to culminate with the banquet and transfer command. So
A long
big day, busy day, tough day for staff because there's a lot of moving parts, but they'll pull it off seamlessly, I'm sure.
I'm excited about seeing, because usually because the Explorer competition is going on today, you'll start seeing a lot of that age group walking through, and they're all in their same team shirts and those kind of things. So it's a pretty cool day to be able to be in here and see that energy come through. So, yeah, an exciting Saturday.
I guess we might want to introduce our guest.
And an exciting way to start our Saturday is by virtue of the fact that we have weren't we doing like ancient archaeology stuff or whatever, and here's our first artifact or something like that or whatever the case
It is.
So
I could have stayed at home and be insulted.
It's what we call our treasure.
He is a treasure.
Yeah, one man's junk is another man's treasure.
And he's the treasure, that's for sure. And if you not know who we're talking about, in between us is sitting Chief Carter Jones, past president of the association, extraordinaire. I mean, you can fill in whatever you want as far as the name title. Last time I saw his card, it had a whole bunch of stuff on there, and there was 2 letters on the back, but that's okay. We'll talk about that another time. But Chief Jones is currently spearheading our efforts of the booth, which is right out in front of us, right behind the camera, for our history efforts with our association. And he is a busy man, because I think that the association is really focused efforts on trying to incorporate and capture our history and our artifacts that we have. And you've done a great job and are showing your passion once again. Another friend of mine, we were having a conversation. I don't know how we're going to keep up with you, because you've got energy. It's like the Energizer Bunny or something. I don't know. So we appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Looks so deceiving.
It's that duck thing, calm above the water.
Absolutely. But it is an exciting time, and I'm thoroughly enjoying what we are doing, but it's not a one-man show. We've had so many people to donate antique artifacts, and I'm very grateful for it. We've had a number of folks who have significant collections, rare items that are scarce all over the country. So I'm very grateful, and I'm excited about the days ahead and what lies in store for the Heritage Center and the museum. And of course, collecting 3D items like we see here, helmets and trumpets and parade belts, that's one thing. But the other part about our initiative is researching our history and putting it to pen. The fire service in South Carolina is not very careful to collect and maintain their history. So much of it is found in boxes and closets and attics, and we over the years have thrown away so much of our history. So our job is to try to find it and capture it and put it to pen. And I'm just so excited about the days ahead. And it looks like we're moving forward to something great.
and I want to hear a lot more about that moving forward. How did all this get started? What's the impetus? I know it was kind of part of your brainchild, but you had several other people that are helping you and whatnot to get started. And what's kind of been the mission or focus of your group from the get-go? So you've got a history, a heritage, and culture group. Is that not correct?
Well, I would have to give you the credit
I don't know about that.
for the vision of
I was not fishing.
doing something with our history. So I'm very grateful for that. But we have a museum committee that we haven't had a lot of activity to bring in the museum committee other than advising us at this point. But July and August, they will be busy. And we have some experts, if you will, serving on that committee. Chief John Bowers from Camden is the chair of that group, and I'm looking forward to really moving forward with some plans. We've been talking about exhibits. David White with Motorola is interested in helping us with an exhibit for the antique radios, the first ones, and then see the evolution to what we have today.
We've kind of talked about this with not only executive director, and you've heard if you've been here with presentations from the floor, and you can see those videos as well. But Chief is referring to the fact that very soon it is the desire and hope of the association to have a facility that will house not only the offices and the functions of the association, but as a showcase on the very first floor main entrance is to have a history culture center, a museum, if you will, that will house a lot of not only the artifacts, but archived records and materials, and be a focal point for the fire service to come in and kind of enjoy and have a place for our history.
We certainly have met one of the goals, and that is to be a clearinghouse, a resource for other departments. And every week I get requests about, can you find the history of our fire chiefs, when our department was organized? And so many of our departments don't have those answers. So I'm grateful that people are coming to us to help them with that research and identify items. How old is this nozzle? Those kinds of things. So it's a function that none of the other museums in the state are prepared to do or equipped to do. We have a beautiful museum in Charleston, the American La France North Charleston Fire Department Museum, but most of the state's museums and city and county museums have very, very little of the history of their fire departments. Mm-hmm. And it's our mission to capture that history and provide it for them so from here on out they'll maintain it.
But I'm aware, and we make the viewers aware too, you've reached out and done a lot of research with other facilities, other museums, in-state and out-of-state. You've had some, I'll call them experts, subject matter experts, kind of help you or partner with you to kind of come up with some concepts and ideas and just kind of point us in a direction.
Absolutely, and every week somebody else says, well, you know, I can do this, or I know a guy who can do this. So we're making notes, and on Facebook I see a picture of fire apparatus stored in a museum, and I like the cobblestone. Let me take it, how we can bring that to South Carolina.
Absolutely.
Well, so there's been a lot of talk up here throughout the, podcast on different people that we're interviewing, and a lot of us are still trying to keep up with Carter Jones, still trying to keep pace. How long you been in the fire service?
59.
59 years, knocking on 60 years, still relevant, still have your finger on the pulse. And what I figured out over time is that by nature you're curious. You're curious about how fire departments are operating. You're curious how leaders are doing what they're doing, how bad leaders are doing what they're doing, just to learn from that. So you stay curious and stay learning, and I think that is what you bring to the history side. You know, you're truly curious about how things were done, how fire departments were you know, how they operated, and the excitement you have when somebody has a new piece.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the second part of that is you love to share. You have been more than generous sharing with me, but that's what you're doing at these conferences, is sharing everything that you've been able to accumulate. And I just think that museum will be the perfect opportunity to share. And you'll stay curious.
I hope so, but I'm getting old. I better hurry up and make it happen. But you give me a lot of credit, but it's the encouragement, the camaraderie, the long-standing, true friendships that I have made that encourages me to keep going and not want to quit. But, you know, let's be realistic.
As an example, though, and I'm a wheel side with this one, sorry, is that you just wrote a small article, pamphlet, booklet, and presented to the governor, of which I'm aware of, that you did a lot of groundwork and legwork on, and were able to go to his office and make presentations. So tell everybody about the premise and the work and the connection that we have with our governor and the fire service.
Well, in researching the history of the association, we know that Chief Lewis Barons from Charleston back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, had a vision for an organization to provide benefits and to develop a strong organization in the state for not only career but volunteer departments. But as I researched Chief Barons, a name kept coming in every article: Fitzhugh McMaster. Well, I know our current governor is Henry McMaster, and I just wondered what the connection is. Found out that it was our current governor's great uncle. He was an attorney. He was involved in insurance. He later became a member of the legislature, and he later became our first state insurance commissioner. And then I realized the communication he had with Chief Barons. And together they came up with the 1% concept of continuous support for the association, which we enjoy today. And we had the opportunity to present that little booklet to Governor McMaster, and he did not know that history. But if it weren't for Fitzhugh McMaster and Lewis Barons and other great leaders in our fire service, we would not enjoy what we do today.
You wouldn't be in Fire Rescue 2025. We wouldn't be in this building. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
No.
Well, and you know, when you think about that and we talk about ripple effects and the relationships that we've been talking about every podcast, none of those would exist either. So just think about how much of an impact it has in everybody in here's life.
Foundational events that just set the tone for everything else to come.
Absolutely. It's amazing, and you just stumble on those treasures and dig a little deeper, and it's amazing how they come together.
What would you say has been your most now this is going to be a tough question, it's okay. What would be your most fascinating historical find that you have come across in your opportunity with this history work of late with the association? What has been the article, item, artifact, truth, whatever the case may be, that you've come across of late that was an incredible moment for you?
Well, certainly the research on Lewis Barons and how the association came together was that's one of the tops, but I have so many. For example, discovering that John Nelson Gamewell was from Camden, and the history, 1863, he was in Charleston trying to expand their alarm system. But right down the hallway at the hotel was Robert E. Lee checking on his troops. That was the same night that the great conflagration occurred in Charleston, and they had to move out of the hotel. That was the same night that the New York volunteer firefighters who fought for the Union Army had to be evacuated from the city jail out to Castle Pinckney. And those things are treasures.
Which started our relationship with the folks at FASNY in New York, that revelation and everything.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
One of the highlights of my life, aside from making significant, long, genuine friends, was the opportunity to meet Richie Fanning and his family. Those who are hearing this wouldn't know Richie Fanning, but Richie was a firefighter. I was on the fire school committee, and we were preparing to build the first state fire academy. And they wanted to know something about the training facility in New York and other places, because we didn't have any idea what we wanted, a drill tower, smokehouse, burn pit, whatever. So I volunteered to take a vacation, and I went to New York. We made arrangements with Chief and Commissioner at the same time, John T. O'Hagan. He provided an aide, a car to go to the training facility, and afterwards we bounced around the firehouses, and we went to Richie Fanning's fire station, and a friendship developed between our families that have lasted my career. And to be able to go to the city of New York and do a ride-along program with the busiest engine companies, ladder companies, fireboats. I got to work 1 week with the arson team there. That helped me professionally, but it developed a relationship. For several years, my boys and I would go and march in the St. Patty's Day Parade. So career-wise, it affected South Carolina. He came down here, became an honorary member of our association, taught at the academy for no remuneration. And they later moved down here along with other firefighters from the city of New York, the state of New York. So there is a connection. But I've had so many highlights, and to see both of my boys go into the fire service and follow their career, I'm blessed. I am truly blessed. But networking is a key that I would share with any young person. Shake hands with people, get to know who they are, not to grow your own career, certainly grow your own career, but become true friends with professionals, allies that you can reach out to and trust, get advice. And it's been a great ride. I wish I had 20 more, but, age is catching up.
We'll keep wheeling you in to let you work. Don't worry.
Very good. Very good.
Tell us a little bit about the booth this year. We've been able to sit here for a couple of days and watch the traffic, and obviously of great interest to a lot of people. Right when the doors open, people start walking through and looking. Tell us a little bit about your display this year and what you got going on over here.
Well, this year we have a few more 3D items, helmets that have been donated by Chief Jansen, former Chief of Columbia. And it has turned out to be the largest antique fire helmet collection in the Southeast. He gave us so many conference ribbons and pendants. It's the largest collection of ribbons from conferences in the Southeast. The old leather fire buckets, the speaking trumpets, just beautiful artifacts, and we have so many, I try to change them out each year. And then we have a fantastic partnership with the Rekindle Society, the folks who are great proponents for preserving our old apparatus. and they are wonderful to work with. And when we move into our new facilities, that partnership is going to become even greater because we'll need docents to show people around. We'll need advice on how to maintain the apparatus, and they are the experts, or they know the experts. And that's why we like to have the partnership with the history booth and the Spamfa folks. And it's just a great relationship.
The parade belts, where do they come from?
All of those are from northern or other states, I should say. Back in the day, fire departments enjoyed parades. Some places would have a parade every few months, and competitions. Fastest water, who could get water the fastest, ladder races, horse races. And that's another part of history of South Carolina I love. If I could go back one day to share a day in a firehouse that had a steam engine, a horse-drawn hose wagon, I'd love to do it. I wouldn't necessarily enjoy much of the
The end product, right?
Right. But the training that went into those horses, on TV I see the police horses during these protests, how well trained they are to tolerate the tear gas, the crowds, the shouting. Those are well trained horses.
Absolutely.
And we have some great stories about the horses in South Carolina. Old Joe in Newberry, fastest horse in the state. The seventh fastest horse in the nation. I mean, you know, we got a lot of history here. Charleston, they had up to 60 horses. They had their own veterinarian.
Wow.
And, you know, those were interesting days.
I am fascinated by the pump, the air pump and helmet that you've got over there in that booth. And if you're here today and you get a chance to go by and look at it, that just totally blows me out of the water that something from the 1880s is in that good a shape. Looks like you can put the thing on and start pumping right now. And just the fact that it's sitting right over there.
Yeah, that came from Chief Jansen's collection. It's very rare. There are few left in the country. One is in Hudson, New York, with the New York Museum. And we're very fortunate to have it. It's a prototype, excuse me, an experiment, if you will, on how we could begin to truly make interior attacks and not be overcome by the smoke. I don't know how successful it was, but there it is.
Yeah, okay. That's awesome. Your partnerships, can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
You mentioned earlier having Spamfa and a number of other folks as being partners with you. I know for a number of years you've had other people be able to help you bring rolling stock apparatus into the floor and to be able to display their parts and pieces. Would it be appropriate if we call a gentleman up here to sit and talk for a few moments?
Well,
I use the word gentleman. I guess that's okay, isn't it?
It's a risk, but he's from New York State.
I told him we were going to have translators across the bottom of the screen so everybody would understand it.
Give it a try.
Very good. Right. We're going to slide down one seat. Or better yet, wait a minute. You stay right there.
Well,
okay.
yeah. And I'm going to try and get fancy on this display.
I don't know. Yep, we're hot on this one.
Yes, we are.
Good.
Carter talked me into this. You guys have been working hard all 3 days.
He probably bribed you into this. I don't know that's the case. Yeah, we've had a good fun couple of days and everything, and we've had a good time watching y'all right across the aisle from us.
Yes, sir. It's been a pleasure to be here. We certainly appreciate the partnership and Carter's invitation and giving us the red carpet treatment.
Carter, introduce to us your guest, if you would, please, sir, and a little history or background.
This is Patrick Gavin, a collector of old things, a lover of the old artifacts, and Patrick has moved down to Stroll. He still has a place in upstate New York. He's a member of a fire company up there, and he's the regional director of FASNY, the Firefighters Association in New York. And he has really gotten involved, along with his partners, with the Rekindle Society, and it's a group that's moving forward, and I'm grateful that we are a part of it. So, Patrick Gavin, he works for FEMA.
You let a Yankee up on the stage.
Well, we appreciate you being brave and trying that.
Yes, sir.
The last time the two parts of the country kind of got together about 150 years ago, it was a little rougher. I think today will go much smoother.
Carter was talking about the jail in Charleston.
Yeah, that is the most fascinating thing. And having that opportunity to be out there with those folks from New York, to see that spot and to commemorate that spot was a special moment. You're talking about special moments in careers. That was one for me, is to have that because my great was serving in Charleston.
No kidding.
Not with the group that was doing the jail protecting, but he was there. So again, just having that tie to say, hey, look, the brotherhood existed back then and now.
Sure.
And it was a special moment for me. Sure was. You've got something pretty special sitting over here in front of us, though. Tell us a little bit about, because we've had a lot of people walk by here and want to know what we're looking at and the story behind it.
Sure, that's a 1955 B model Mac, 85. We call that one. So my brothers and I, as Carter said, I still belong to my department up in Owego, New York. And actually, Carter, I was going through your ribbons. 2 of those ribbons are from my department.
No kidding.
Oh, right.
In upstate New York.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's perfect. Yeah.
So anyways, my brothers and I have 2 of our Macs that were served that department from 69 to about 08. And we picked up a third for a parts truck. And as Carter said, my wife and family, we came down here during COVID and kind of just stayed. And my wife said, we really need a fire truck down here for the kids because we keep the other ones upstate. And so there she is. We call her Mama's Mac. So
it's beautiful.
Back then they called them triple combination pumpers.
Yeah.
And so I had to research, the whole meaning behind that. So the triple combination involves truck with a pump, truck with a tank, and a truck with hose.
Okay.
Because back then, for instance, in my department in New York, we had a hose truck and a pumper truck. So this, about the 40s and 50s, they combined apparatus together like we see today with the rescue pumpers and whatnot. But she made it all the way from Sherraw. She tops out about 52 miles an hour.
Drove that apparatus from Sherraw.
Drove it from Sherraw. Tommy Creech, one of our longtime members, followed me down. We had no issues. It took us about 3 hours, but it was a bright, sunny day.
It's beautiful. It is really beautiful. So congratulations and thank you for having it here.
So, Joe, I've been able to pull off the picture-in-picture here.
Yep.
So the folks at home will be able to see the truck.
Yeah, it's an open cab. Yep. So.
But now you have other pieces of apparatus as well?
I've got 4 R-Series Max. So the engines in they're gas engines. They're the biggest engines Mac made. They're 707 cubic inches. That's a 707B in that truck.
So wait a minute. Let me see if I got this right. Because now my little engine in mine, I know what kind of fuel consumption it's got. What is a 700 cubic inch
About 3
engine?
miles.
Yeah, there you go. So not only were you, but you had a fuel truck following you down the road to get here.
Exactly.
Well, you had a sacrifice. Thank you on top of thanking you to get here.
And it runs best on pure gas. So you got to get the premium.
Yep, sure.
But the R series, my brothers and I own. We have one in Chirac too. It's like candy, you get one and you just can't. But Mac only made 61 of the R series gassers. My brothers and I have 4 of them. So one of them's a parts truck, the other 3 operate, and this is the B model. So they made the B models from 54 to 66. And then the R gassers they made from 66 to 74.
The moment I saw that, Carter, you know who I thought about? Was Skip Hannon, because I know it's one of our past presidents from Pennsylvania, worked at the Mack plant.
Okay, in Allentown.
Came down here when they opened their facility here in South Carolina.
Sure, yeah.
And he would have been you couldn't have peeled him off that
no,
truck.
sir.
He'd have been over there on that thing day and night. You couldn't have got him off of it. So thank you for bringing that down.
Yes, sir. Our pleasure. And certainly we appreciate the exposure. We're trying to grow the chapter.
Well, tell us a little bit about the chapter and everything. How would I get involved?
So something I learned recently, actually being here, is our 25th anniversary of the Rekindles. So Rekindle Society is the South Carolina and North Carolina chapter of SPAMFA, which let me get my acronyms right. I do work in government.
That's okay. SPAMFA works. It's okay.
Yeah, SPAMFA, Society for the Preservation and Appreciation of Motor Fire Apparatus in America.
You did pretty good with that.
Great Lord.
That's pretty good.
My college education.
T-shirts for everyone.
It just worked. Congratulations.
But we're the North and South Carolina chapter. We work with national. Tom Hooker, our immediate vice president. We're actually doing 2 events today. They have the Transportation Museum event over in Spencerport, North Carolina. Okay. So he's got I want to say, is that a 65 Seagrave Tom's got?
I think
they call it the Frankenstein truck. It's very uniquely designed. So he's over there covering that event for us, and Tom's our immediate vice president, but he's the regional SPAMFA rep for us. And then somehow Carter nominated me to be president of our chapter in February, so here I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That'll teach you to hang around with him.
But we have a Facebook page. We used to have a website, but right now we're just solely on Facebook. It's Rekindle Society, or Carolina's chapter of SPAMFA Rekindle Society on Facebook. So you can check out our membership application. You don't have to own a fire truck or fire apparatus to be a member of the group. It's only like $15. And it helps us put on our little events. So far, recently, our big event every year is the Spring Festival in Chirac. It's always the first weekend in April, and we get a bunch of antique apparatus from around the area to participate in that. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you. It looks great. SPAMFA's been a part of this show for a number of years in different capacities. And so the Rekindle folks are just so special to us. And
we certainly look forward to the museum and heritage center when that comes about, and that's certainly going to be a partnership we're going to definitely want to be a part of.
You count into the end. You're in.
He's being very modest. When he moved to South Carolina, his wife is from Chirac.
Oh, wow, okay.
He built his own fire station. Fire pole.
And it's got a bar upstairs. You guys are welcome anytime. Yeah, it's got a fire pole.
We get off about 3.
That's right.
2 hours to get there, so there you go.
We got a 300-pound fire bell, and it's got, speaking of game wells, it's got a game well diaphragm. You ever foghorn?
Does it work?
You can hear it 6 miles away.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've heard one on video only, so it works.
Yes, sir. My department in New York has one that's still
One day when you want to scare the birds out of the neighborhood, I want to hear that thing run. I'll drive to Chirac, because those things are just awesome sounding. They're spooky.
Telling our chief Marvin Murray that I want to touch it off when we have structure fires. We haven't quite done that yet, but maybe we'll get there sometime.
Google it, look it up, diaphragm like that, and it is an incredible sound like no other. So yeah, it will rock your world.
In my town in New York, back before pagers and plectrons and all that stuff, you used to tell how many honks of the horn where in the village the fire would be.
District or zone or something. Oh, wow.
And there were 12 districts.
Oh, wow.
So I assume that guys would lose count at some point.
After about 10, you couldn't hear because it'd blast your eardrums out. I mean, that's awesome.
But, that's part of the history that we're trying to preserve, and certainly what Carter's doing. Back from the days of steam fire engines, pulled by horses, some pulled by hand. My department in New York, we're restoring an 1866 Amoskeag.
Right.
It's up with Andy Swift up at Firefly Restorations. When it comes back, it will be the oldest operating in the country.
Wow.
But just to show the evolution from steam fire engines or hand carts to apparatus like the B model Mac there to the very large fire apparatus we have.
Yes.
I mean, you get nosebleeds loading those on those things. But
Before Patrick and I finish, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge that so many of the members of the Rekindle group are firefighters, former firefighters. Look at Tommy Creech over there, has been with Sherall forever, and Brendan Kennedy and his wife Adelia.
FDNY,
Yeah, he was a FDNY dispatcher, and he knew so many of the folks that Jonathan and Craig and I had met over the years, and it's a small world, but we're
it was
so
great
grateful
to
to
see
be
the presentation with FASNY this week as the sister organization. Don D'Alessandro, the secretary of FASNY. It's certainly I was surprised to see him down there.
Right, there you go, surprise, here you are. They are a great group of people. We just were treated like royalty when we were up there. Carter's got some really great stories about the museum he would love to share with you if he doesn't, some that we're not going to put on air, but that he couldn't tell publicly. But it's an impressive and incredibly impressive place and organization. They really do a good job.
Yeah, the Fireman's Home, the museum. We do a lot with the museum up there. We were supposed to be at an event last week to do a hose race demonstration. Carter was talking about the firefighter competitions. We still do that in Central New York, which is my chapter of FASNY, if you will. But it got rained out, so we're rescheduled to be up there, I think, in September. But certainly, two first-class operations. Your operation here in FASNY, certainly.
Thank you for graciously putting us in that same category.
You mentioned the home. There was an ulterior motive of going. My oldest son is very interested in a home.
Yeah.
For me.
We are fully aware. As a matter of fact, if you'll come to our meeting at 11:30, you'll probably hear more about that.
Yeah.
We're having an intervention at 11:30. Guys.
Oh, yeah. I thank for y'all for being on. Always a pleasure. Great meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for providing your apparatus and allowing so many of our membership to take a look at it. Beautiful rig. And glad to have you in South Carolina.
Yes, sir. It's good to be here.
You can count this as home. You're one of us now, so you don't get out to go back up.
There you go.
Tell your wife she wins. You get stuck.
She suckered me in.
Chief, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Quite welcome. Thank you.